We live.
Yo, what's going on, man? 94 feet of life at the scene. Part two of the draft preview. We're not going to do mock draft this way. We're going to get into a little bit more, few things. But you got MJ, you got Germ, you got Big Shot. Actually got Professor Germ from Ball U Academy today. Shouts out to Ball U Academy. So what we're gonna do is, man, we're gonna talk about the rest of the players, how fit matters more than anything. Also, we're gonna get a little deep. We're gonna get a little deep and talk about, the fork in the road. In which do you stay true to your art and your craft, or do you sell out a little bit for the change? So we're gonna show you how that ties into the NBA draft. Ball is life with us, and we make the metaphors of it. So we go ahead and swing it to my brother from another mother, Big Shot Ron. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? Y'all know what it is. Capital THE, capital SCEN, the scene. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube. Your notifications are on because you never know we're going to be here. 94 Feet of Life is the Facebook group. Football Heads, we got to shout to Football Heads views from the 22. Come join them, especially on Sunday for the game thread and the pregame. Part two, the other guys. We talked about the lottery last week. So now we're going to get into the non-lottery and why the fit matters. As MJ said, we're not going to do a mock and predicting who's going where, but just talking about why this end of the draft that doesn't ever get a lot of coverage because it's not sexy, because it's not the lottery, but why this matters so much. Professor Germ, somewhere between Dayton and Shaker Heights, what's happening?
Look, man, we gonna talk to y'all today. I missed volume 1. I wasn't happy about it. You know what I'm saying? I got to snarl on like we about to battle rap or something. I'm about to make y'all folks say, it's going. Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Hey, it's right to you right now, man. So go ahead, speak your mind on draft part one since we haven't got a chance to get your thoughts. And also, some people may be too lazy to go look back at draft one. If you are, shame on you. But just a little recap, Professor Germ. Go ahead and just kind of jump in and say what your thoughts were.
So, number one thing, when we talk about these young kids, when we throw them into we throw them into the fire, proverbially, and we say that this is your franchise and all of these different things. Give these players keys to the city. How do you give a 19-year-old keys to anything and then expect them to be ready? Y'all don't even give 19-year-old keys to cars and think that they're responsible, let alone a keys to an organization or a franchise in a major city.
Right.
Oh, we in our bag already. We're gonna talk about this because it don't make sense. Jason Tatum is still about 4 or 5 years away from being what he's gonna be. So I can't criticize him the same way I'm gonna criticize some of these other players. LeBron didn't win right away. Kobe didn't win right away, but Kobe happened to go to an organization that had a guy named Shaq who had been playing since '92. So let's just be real about these situations. Mike didn't win when he first came in the league. Mike didn't win until the '90s. He didn't even win in the decade he was drafted. So let's just call it that. You got to give these players time to develop. You got to give these players time to grow. And if you're not going to do that, then you put them at a disadvantage. Also, I'm gonna give you a very, very good example. Kyrie Irving, Cleveland Cavaliers. This is next to me, so I can speak on this. Kyrie, the year that he was supposed to do something was the year that they got Andrew Bynum. Andrew Bynum didn't pan out. That put a dent in what the franchise wanted to do moving forward. Gordon Hayward was the piece that the Cleveland wanted to add the next offseason to go along with Andrew Wiggins or Jabari Parker. When Jabari Parker came, but LeBron threw the wrench in the whole thing and came back to Cleveland, guess what happened after that? That draft capital didn't mean anything because we wanted to win now. So now the draft capital was flipped for an established veteran player named Kevin Love. With that being said, they threw another lottery guy in there that they got that was drafted number 1 overall named Anthony Bennett. So it took 2 number 1 picks and future picks in order for Cleveland to even flip it and get a veteran proven player, which was Kevin Love. So we got to understand, and all of that ties in to one key point. It takes these players time to get their rhythm in a grown man's league. This is not a league for kids. This is a league for grown men. So at the end of the day, I don't want to hear, oh, well, if we don't get it done in this year, this is not the NFL. This is not the NFL. In the NFL, you got a 5-year window to win with your rookies, especially your rookie quarterbacks and things of that nature. In the NBA, it's not the same things. You don't have 5 years to win with your rookie wings because wings at the end of the day and your big guards are the ones that we all here for. So let's dribble back over to the MJ. Let's keep the flow going. I just had to isosceles triangle out real quick and step in. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and swing this over to Big Shot, but I will just say one thing about it. It's funny that you even mentioned that it's usually a 5-year window for NFL rookies. Well, you gotta think it usually takes 4 or 5 years for them to really adjust to the speed and know what's going on in the game. And basketball is a little different because you can know what's going on into the game, but you're still not going to play your best basketball till around the age of 27, 28. This is where your physical is maximized. Your hops is still what they were at age 19. This is where now your mental has actually been able to digest what those coaches have been telling you for the last 20 years of your life on how to play the game. Now you're playing chess, not checkers. And most importantly, your grown man strength has kicked in. This is the strength that's not the weight room. This is the strength you just wake up with, whether you do a push-up or 100. That don't usually come into your age 28. So usually that's when a basketball player's peak is. And ironically enough, it's also around his 3rd contract. So moving this over to Big Shot, main thing that Germ said was, it's about letting them grow, but it's also about opportunity. So let's talk a little bit about opportunity, then we're going to talk about these players.
So the reason I like the non-lottery into the draft is for a lot of things that you all hit on, because the second part of the first round tends to be guys who are older, tends to be players who maybe have been in college 2, 3, the rare 4-year guy. So a guy whose quote unquote ceiling is not as high, but he can step in and maybe not be the star, but he can help you. And he can help you a little bit faster. And as Germ hit on, in the NBA, that window, unless you have a really good GM, which is a whole nother conversation, that window stays open 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 if you're lucky. So some of these guys who are going to be picked in the 20s, yeah, they may not be max players. They may not be guys that make $100 million at some point. But if you are a team like a Denver, if you are a team like the Lakers, a Toronto, a better team who maybe just needs another bench piece, another piece of depth, one of these young fellas who are not touted can help you, which is what MJ is going to talk about now, why the fit matters so much. And then let's get now into some of the players, because there's one guy in this draft, my annual Ron's favorite player in the draft, who is probably going to get picked in one of these spots, who I think, I'm never going to say a star when you pick in the 20s, but I think this guy is going to be really good for a long time. But we're going to get to that. MJ, let's not talk about player and the fit at this end of the draft.
All right, perfect. And then I'm going to get Germ involved. It's going to be a perfect segue to introducing the other point guards, just like the other guys. Main thing is this. Every team that's drafting right now, unless it was a trade that happened at some point, is a team that played in the playoffs. So they're at best 2-3 pieces away. So if I'm drafting somebody, I'm really not drafting them to play right away unless it's an anomaly that occurred. I'm looking for guys with high character, who's going to come to work and is going to handle their business. I'm looking for guys who also is going to understand their role, because most of the time, if you're getting drafted in that area, unless an injury happened, usually in that area, you're going to be the guy that makes sure you push the star player in practice, make sure that you come in, you have a very sharp minimal role that could possibly even typecast you for the rest of your career. So then you got some teams who really don't need you at all. You're going to probably go to the G League. You'll have to have that grind, or you're going to have a hell of a game in the the summer league, in which they don't have, which is even worse now. So now it's just based off of what you do at practice or virtual. It's a mess. So let's talk about some of these point guards. We mentioned Tyrell Terry on the first show. We're going to bring him back because I think he's really interchangeable with the point guards we're talking about. We got Tyrell Terry from Stanford. We got Cole Anthony from UNC. We got Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. We got Kyra Lewis from Alabama, not Louisville, Alabama. And we also got Malachi Flynn from San Diego State. That's my Fred VanVleet watch. But he's in the late. I think that's the one that Ronnie's favorite is, because he looked real Fred VanVleetish when I was watching the film. Anywho, Jerm, some of these players, what are your thoughts on?
Well, this is the tier of the guards that you can take to a team that already has an established big player, which is the big guard or a big wing. And these are the players that I think that fit well in certain systems. So, for example, a team like the Clippers, let's say, the Clippers could use all the guard help that they could need. They need all the guards that they can find. In fact, they may need to get rid of a couple, and they may need to bring in a couple. And they may need to be young guys who don't have egos, who Kawhi and Paul George can tell what to do. That may be best for what the franchise needs right now, because we already know what Lou is. We already know what the rest of these guys are. So moving forward, I think this is the tier that I think the veteran guys can bring into the franchise, and they may be able to get them a chip early. Big shot.
This is exactly why my favorite player is Malachi Flynn. The reason I love Malachi Flynn is that other than physical tools, there really isn't anything basketball-wise he doesn't do it. He shoots it well. He defends his position. He can run a team. So if I'm a team like the Clippers, and one of the things that we talked about with the Clippers needed somebody to run that team. Yes, a team with Kawhi Leonard and Montrezl Harrell and Paul George. Yes, they need somebody to run a team. Malachi Flynn helps the Clippers. If Toronto loses Fred VanVleet, you can put Malachi Flynn behind Kyle Lowry, let him learn under the master. And in 2 years, he's ready. And Malachi Flynn can step in and probably give you 15 minutes a game next year. So a lot of these guards that are in this end of the draft, the Kira Lewis's, Cole Anthony, who I think somebody's going to get a steal, Cole Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Like late teens, early 20s. A lot of these guards are guys who they may not be prime Kyrie, but could you be Goran Dragic in 3 years? Could you be somebody like
Jeff Teague?
Like a Jeff Teague. If you can get a Goran Dragic or a Jeff Teague at this point in the draft, you have done well. And I think a lot of these guards that are in these teens to 20s are that. And so
yeah,
I think this is where you're gonna find, and Jerm knows this from an NFL draft. This is value time. This is value time. If I can find somebody, a rotation player at 26 in the draft, you've done well. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's plenty of teams that need point guards, by the way. Even in this point guard heavy league that we're in, you need another one. And there's a lot of value in that.
You can never have too many guards.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. As Ronnie eloquently talked about Malachi Flynn, I won't go over him, but let's just go over some of the other guards. Now, when I go over these guards, I'm not going to say I like him, I dislike him. I'm not going to say he can play, he cannot play. What I'm simply going to say is, if he is one of these individuals who wants the holy trinity of basketball, that holy trinity being you get to play the style that you want to play, you get to win, and you get paid doing it. That is the holy trinity of basketball. If you are an NBA player, you hope to get to that point. Unfortunately, the majority of the NBA players are not there. And the main thing that they got to deal with is not playing their style of play. One guard that I think is going to be able to play his style of play regardless because he's that dynamic is Cole Anthony. Right now, what they're worried about, what the scouts is worried about is his lack of leadership or his shot selection. Well, when I looked at the games, he was very vocal. He was very upbeat. He was very positive. So what type of leadership are you talking about? Is his leadership bad because he got injured and they lost 10 games? Because they was 4-0 when they first started.
His draft profile is so much like Dennis Smith Jr. Like, and I'm gonna get right back to you. Cole Anthony played on a historically bad North Carolina team. Like arguably the worst team Roy Williams has had in North Carolina. He was unfortunately on, which is where the leadership comes in. But right back to you, MJ. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that we have context as to why this is.
Oh no, I'm gonna be bouncing this around to all of y'all because we're just gonna break it up in positions and make it easy that way. And here's the irony of that. This is why I always call out NBA and height supremacy. Ben Simmons on LSU team didn't make the NIT. They were not good at all, and they was trying their best to get them in there because they wanted to see Ben Simmons in the tournament. It did not happen. He got picked number 1 overall. Height supremacy. Anywho, so you also got Kyra Lewis, who I think is a great third guard that can lead you, can change speeds. But I also think he's one of those guards that he doesn't do anything special enough to warrant him to be able to be special. So I think if he wants to be special, his best situation will be to get some patches on your jersey. I think he's a patch jersey guy. I mean, because I want him to be his best. I want him to be able to take 16 shots a game, make decisions, and do it in his flow. In the NBA, he's not going to be able to do that. He is going to be a third guard. His best hope is it be another Ish Smith. And even with Ish Smith, he gets traded way too often than he should get traded, in my personal opinion. So good luck with that type. So a couple other guards. Nico Mannion, he's sneaky athletic. I'm seeing him going to Utah, go figure. I can see him playing with Donovan Mitchell and just being a catch and shoot guy when Mike Conley go on the bench. I can see it. It's not a far stretch, and I think he'd be cool doing that. So if he goes to Utah, more power to him. What's the last guard I want to talk about? Oh yeah, Tyrese Maxey. I got a thing now with Kentucky basketball players. If they were under Coach Cal for a year, why not invest in them if they fall? Because every Kentucky player I have seen has been great for the NBA. Jerm, what's your thoughts on some of the Kentucky alumni since Calipari got there?
I mean, which position? We just talk about guards?
That's why I said everything. But right now, Tyrese Maxey is the guard. Tyrese Maxey is the point guard that I'm referring to, who's also entering the draft, and he's just as good as anybody in the draft.
See, here's the thing. Kentucky players, shouts out to my guys, Les and Tram, Big Blue Nation, whatever. Don't expect me to say it again. But shout out to my guys. But the thing about this is Calipari always allows these players to be them. That's why the Kentucky program flows the way it does. He never recruits a player and then says, "Oh, you're about to go and do this." Everybody does exactly what they're going to do. So I can see this kid. I can see him being a guy who goes and ends up with the keys to a franchise and actually excelling. I think the talent is there. I think everything that we look for is there. I think it's just going to take a couple of years to figure out what his niche is going to be. Is he going to be the guy that you're going to do heavy screen and roll? Is he going to be that guy? Or is he going to be the guy that you're going to, bring the ball up the court, get it into one of these the big guys' hands, and let him go to work from there? A team like Philly could use a guy like him, in my opinion. A team like Philly. Some of these other teams, like, let's say, I'm going to be funny with y'all. I'm going to be funny with y'all only because it's interesting. This is a Brad Stevens player.
Yeah.
This is a Brad Stevens player. Like, Brad is not going to ask him to do nothing crazy. It's kind of like, remember a couple years ago, we was talking about Carson Edwards, the flamethrower. Like, I don't get it. I don't get Boston just got a stockpile of guards. They all good. Like, and they don't even be playing them. They didn't need, in my opinion, they didn't need Kemba Walker. They could have started playing some of these flamethrowers.
And that's the most unfortunate thing. It goes back to the main point of this: opportunity. And opportunity is so important. Go ahead.
And the thing about Kentucky playing with Cal, and this is why you can't get hung up on numbers. Because Cal has so many guys, nobody's numbers are going to look good. Nobody's
Booker.
numbers are not gonna look good because Cal playing 7 or 8 of
Devin
So-
Booker was the sixth man, and Devin Booker was probably one of the 5 best players to ever come out of Kentucky.
No, I'll do you one better. Carl Anthony Towns and Anthony Davis were known as shot blockers and bruisers.
those are Carl Anthony Towns is the greatest example. I think Carl Anthony Towns, somebody can look this up. I'm pretty sure it was 11 points a game.
I think it was 15, but I'm about to go. I'm going right now.
It wasn't anything that said, whoa. But, and we're going to get into Carl Anthony Towns on the NBA preview because I think that's going to be, I think, my guy coming into this season.
Yeah, 50, 40, 80.
Carl Anthony Towns is now one of the best scorers in the league. When I say score, I'm not talking big. I'm talking big, small, medium.
He won a skills challenge. People understand that his 7-foot ass won a skills challenge.
But when you're at Kentucky and it's you and this McDonald's All-American and this McDonald's All-American and this McDonald's All-American, your touches are limited. You don't get to do NBA stuff, but your numbers are limited because you share it. So someone like to flip this back, Tyrese Maxey, Higgins, are guys whose numbers you're going to look at and say, 9.5 points a game, 3 assists. That ain't it. When they get to the pro, they've been doing pro stuff for 2 years, 3 years with Cal.
Even with 1 year.
Even with 1 year.
Yeah, so that's the thing that we want to look into, and this is a good segue to the wing position. There's one wing position that is projected to be in the lottery that we didn't talk about because I also think that this is a guy that needs to get patches on his jersey to be able to be who he really wants to be, and that is Aaron Naismith. Now, let me know
when y'all ready for these numbers from these Kentucky players.
No, you give them right now. Now I'm gonna talk about Aaron Naismith. Go ahead.
Okay, so the leading scorer that year for Kentucky was Aaron Harrison at 11 points a game. Carl Anthony Towns averaged, big shot, 10 points, 10.3 points, and 6.7 rebounds is your average for Carl Anthony Towns. And Devin Booker averaged 10 points with 2 rebounds and 1 assist. There was the top 3 scorers on that team, along with Willie Cauley-Stein, averaging about 9. Trey Lyles averaged about 8.7.
Bro.
Yeah, bro. This is telling. Like, you can't look at numbers don't tell you anything about a player coming from college. And then you go to the next year, that's the year that Jamal Murray got there. And there was none of these other guys besides Tyler Ulis was still there.
And once again, y'all just be lobbing these up to me. Once again, this is the main reason why when I'm going to talk about Aaron Naismith, why I think he's probably better suited to get patches. When I saw Aaron Naismith, he averaged 23 a game at Vanderbilt. And what I also liked the most had nothing to do with him. It had all to do with his coach. I saw Jerry Stackhouse all in his game. Old Jerry Stackhouse, too. The 29-point-a-game Jerry Stackhouse, who was working the intermediate, was being able to run plays through back cuts. You know, even with the set shot on the catch and shoot. The one thing that I think Aaron Naismith will struggle with is he's not really that long and he's not athletic at all. And his shot, you know, he has a set shot. He reminds me a lot of Wayne Ellington, to be honest. I think they're mirror images of each other because their shot, it don't take long, but, you know, it's a process to shoot it. So those corner threes, you know, guys are closing out quick. Don't know if that will have any effect on it. But, you know, he doesn't have a handle. And being a wing without a handle nowadays is just, you know, you could be a 3DA guy, but now you got to ask this question. The other 3DA guys that's already on the team, are you going to be better at doing what they do than they are when you're supposed to be coming in as a scorer? Now we talk about this fork in the road. Do I keep it real and be myself and get these patches and I get to play the game the way I want to play it? Or do I take this bag, play a very minimal role, only to get traded for somebody who's younger and cheaper? Go ahead and tag me in. I'll tag you in, Ron. What's going on?
That's when you say with someone like Aaron Naismith, if his game doesn't expand, this is where you have to find fit. You have to find your Duncan Robinson in Miami situation where Here is your role. I think it was some stat in the bubble I read. Duncan Robinson might have took 15 2-point shots the whole time he was in the bubble. Your job is to stay behind this 3-point line and don't you dare come across it. And that could be Aaron Naismith's role. Find that 3-point line, get behind it, don't you dare come across it. I don't care if you up fake the dude and he goes past you, you stay behind that 3-point line, and that's what you do. This is where fit becomes key. He might be able to find a role as that. But as MJ talked about, the rest of his game, that Stackhouse part of his game might not ever appear at this level because your fit is you're going to shoot the ball.
And this is what makes it so gangster about what you just said, because now he has to compete with other college guys who will be a better fit for that role. And you could get him later. So like Jamis Ramsey, his stats on the catch and shoot three were ridiculous. I think he shot 60 some odd %. And his arms is longer. He about got a 6'10" wingspan. He's younger, more bouncier. Now it's like it'll be easier for me to turn this guy into this because, you know, he's so athletic and his shot is already fluid and going in. He already is a fit for this, and I know I'm going to get defense out of him, as opposed to having to conform a pure scorer and tell them that's not what your job is. I'm going to give you another name, too, who's not even in the first round, projected at least, and that's Jordan Noir. They said on his virtual workout, he had 86% of his threes. Also longer than Naismith. Longer wingspan, taller. So now, do you really want to compete in that? In which you got dudes that's going in the second round who has actually played that system for the most part at their respective colleges. Isaac Okoro, who went lottery, another one. Like, I can go all day on these guys because that's what everybody's training their wings to be so that they can try to get them a job. Jordan, go ahead and tag in on this. What's your thoughts?
See, this is the thing too. We keep talking about fit. Fit is the key in everything we do in life. You don't go and take that Fortune 500 job if you don't fit, ladies and gentlemen. Let's correlate this to real life real quick. If you don't fit in this team that you're going to work for, it's not going to be fun. So at the end of the day, what we're not about to do is what we're not going to do is we're not going to just take a 19-year-old, 18-year-old kid, thrust him into the fire and say, you need to do this because the coach wants you to do this. Hey, coach, you fired. Get the hell out of here. Sorry, YouTube. Hey, get him the out of here. I don't want to see it. We about in 2020, we're gonna stop doing two things. We're gonna stop complaining about stuff we can't control, and we're gonna stop trying to change people from who they are not. Period. Point blank. Bag has been opened. I'm.
You know what I love about this character, this guy. What I love about this dude next to me, Professor Germ from Baldy Academy. What I love about him is he always has a knack for speaking how the world should be. I speak about how the world is. Because I know all that stuff you just said sounded incredible. Ain't shit gonna change. You asking a GM who don't know anything about basketball but got an MBA in business or got an MBA in law or MBA in mathematics, so they do analytics. You're asking them to actually learn how a basketball player is supposed to look like and just create a system for them to, no, they don't work that way. They're going to make this as close to what they know as possible, which is corporation. They know corporation, they know business, and they know this person does this, and this person does this, and this person does this, and they separate their dinner from dessert, and that is how they're able to look at everything. Because now they're like, James Harden is our superstar, therefore he should automatically get 26 shots a game. Eric Gordon, you can dribble to the basket and you can shoot threes, but you're not a superstar. We don't want you to be a superstar because that's going to take away James' shots. So you only get layups and threes. And they do this on and on and on and on and on. So this is just
that's
what
why that's why they got as many rings on their hand as I got on mine.
I agree.
Where's
I agree.
I feel the Booker T coming on.
Oh boy. I agree though, but that's just what it is. So, moving back to this as well. Like, so these guys who are getting drafted, you got to understand character is going to be extremely important. And one guy that is a wing big in between that I want to talk about, who they said his character is in question, is Jaden McDaniels at Washington. So, and Big Shot is a sucker for wasted potential. He can't stand it. I get it. So, if you squint your eyes and watch this dude a little bit and not really read the back of the jersey, or you just like kind of walk and get some juice and you see him play, you'll be like, is that Michael Porter Jr.? Oh, was that KD? Like, he moves that way.
Yeah.
He moves that way. Like 6'10", pure wing. Could shoot it, could score on all three levels. He makes the game look easy. But they talking about his attitude. So, obviously, he's probably going to be that kid who is going to have to learn how to be a bench guy. And it's pretty much going to be the practice dummy for whoever the star small forward is. So they got him going to Denver. I would love to be a fly on the wall and watch him, Bobo, Michael Porter Jr. go at it. I would love to see the ones in that. And I think Jaden will win the majority, but it wouldn't even matter because he's just not getting the spot. What are your thoughts on Jaden? Because you shook your head, Ronnie. What's your thoughts, man?
Jaden, the one thing, and people who've been in 94 Feet of Life know this, the group chat know this. The one thing I am a stickler for on a team is behavior and attitude. I do not expect that I am drafting choir boys. I get it. However, I shouldn't have. You are not the dude that's gonna make that phone ring at 3 o'clock in the morning. I am not with it. I'm not with character issues at all. And Jaden McDaniel is someone who in this draft, which by all accounts is not deep. Mm-mm. This is by no means 1996, 1984, it's none of that. Jaden McDaniels on talent should not be going in the 20s.
No.
Jaden McDaniels is a lottery talent who's going to go 20-something because of attitude and because of character. He's going to have to get – and Denver, to me, would be a bad situation for the reason if he's behind too many people, is he going to get funny on? So that's a guy who should be a lot better than what he is, but attitude and behavior. And Germ, I know in the NFL draft, and Germ NBA head too, so let me stop calling him the NFL guy. But Germ knows this from scouting NFL. Same thing. Dog, if you can't act right on a meal plan, what are you going to do on the 1st and the 15th when you see 150 G's on the 1st and the 15th every 2 weeks?
I got one better. If you can't say no to the Deltas, how you gonna say no to the Instagram models? Not to say that it's easy to say no to the Deltas, so don't do that to me either, because it's not.
Technical foul, MJ. I got to tee you
up. I got
up.
one more. It's okay. I'm on my Rasheed stuff, man. I tell him talk to the shirt, man.
Talk
to the shirt.
Hey.
Not you. I'm just saying. That's what I tell
him. I got you. I got you.
No, but seriously though, and that's the toughest thing about this draft. It's like once you're typecast, that's just what you are. So do we even know if Jaden McDaniels really do have character issues, or could he just be very uber competitive? Do we know? And that's what sucks, because the people who are writing up these things and the people who are saying what this guy is literally like dictating their life. And the one thing that I know about a human being is the only constant is change. Who is to say Jaden McDaniels, when he get drafted, don't turn into like a Rashad Lewis type player who gets so mad for going so late that he punishes everybody in the league and every team that didn't pick him. Gilbert Arenas is another dude who did the exact same thing. He waited his turn. He waited. Once he got that spot, he's like, I am not giving this up again. Granted, stuff happened, but still.
Hey, but you talk about that, MJ. If you told me if I get Gilbert Arenas out of a second round pick, I did great.
And then
if you get a bucket in this, if you get a bucket in the first, second, or third round, you won. But when you get a bucket like that in the second round, that's different. That's different. That's a superstar bucket.
Jeremy, you talk about some of the guys that in this half of the draft, when you talk about Jimmy Butler's, Pascal Siakam's, Tony Parker's, if you find that level at this end of the draft, that's worth 2 picks.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili was a second round pick too, wasn't he?
Ginobili was second.
I'm not counting Ginobili because that was a pop trick. No, not even that. Pop did some finessing out of that one. It's not illegal. Pop didn't do anything illegal, but basically what Pop did was he was frequenting out in Argentina and drinking wine with people, and he eventually got a call from a guy who was like, hey, this is a guy I think you need to pick up. His name is Emmanuel Ginobili. So he went that low because no one knew about him. Crazy, right?
See,
also relationships. Make sure you get the right agent.
Rondo, back into the first round, right? If you find Rondo at this end of the draft, you done real well. You done very well.
So we got to do it. So you already mentioned some great names that went late first round, early second. Who are some of your guys after it could be somebody we name or somebody we didn't even name? Who are some of your guys in which they have that potential to be like, damn, so-and-so missed out? We'll start with Germ on this one. Who is your guy or guys?
We're talking overall from everybody we've already covered, or?
Oh, no. We're talking mid to late first round projection.
I like the Cole Anthony. I like him a lot. I like that particular player. It's just hard to have certain skill sets just translate. Certain skill sets translate. You talked about this off the record. When you got certain things in your game that already are there that I don't need to come in and develop, that you are who you are, that's what we look for. We're not looking for anything extra. We're not looking for anything more. I just want you to be who you are. That dude may be who he's supposed to be, and who he's supposed to be could be a perennial all-star and then some.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who you got, Big Shot?
Well, I named my guy Malachi Flay. I think
you did.
Jaden McDaniels, we just talked about, I think is one of the most talented players in this draft who's going to go lower, who, right circumstances, develops into something. I'll give you another one. Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane has the curse of the 4-year player. We know, and for the last 20 years, we hate people that have the nerve to go to college for 4 years. We hate that. But Desmond Bane got an NBA 2-guard body and can really shoot the ball, which means he comes in with 2 things. He got an NBA skill set that he can do off the bat, and he has physical tools that say, I can do something else.
Yep.
He will probably be late first round. He could slide back in the top end of the second. He's a guy who I think could be solid for somebody off the bat.
No, I completely agree. Hold on, let me cut that off. Sorry about that. No, but I completely agree. And here are 2 guys that I got. And I know we got about to be pressed for time, but here are 2 guys I got. The first guy is Paul Reed in DePaul.
Yes.
6'9", 210, makes it look effortless, was on a team in which he had to be the man. He played in a grown man league in the Big East. There's no plays off, very physical. Just oodles of potential. He has Paul George-like potential to me. Question is, who's going to see that? I would love for him to sneak into Toronto and Toronto just throw him in the G League for a year and then see what come out. Another one that I like is the big at Arizona. Now, I know just because you kill somebody in college don't mean that actually say that you're going to be a better pro than them, but it do matter for something, doesn't it? Zeke killed USC boy twice. He killed him twice.
I mean,
and he's 2 inches taller.
De'Aaron Fox killed Lonzo Ball, and I think De'Aaron Fox is better than Lonzo Ball, but we ain't gonna go that far.
I mean, we could keep going. Remember when Chris Paul and Darren Williams like blew out Chris Paul in college, and even though Chris Paul ended up being a better player long term, he always had problems with Darren Williams. Like I see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He always had it, but I'm really looking at this ZZ kid, and I'm just like, he do everything the other dude do at 6'11", and his form looks better, so he might be able to develop his shot quicker than him. And he on the back end. What you was gonna say, Ronnie? Sorry about that. I had to just talk.
That's true. I think, obviously, it can't be everything, but I think because how will you match up against players like that when you get your 5 to 10 minutes a night in the league? Which, when if you draft in low first, high second, that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Guy who can give me 5 to 10 minutes here. So that isn't. I don't disagree with that assessment. Looking at somebody, because that's what you're gonna see 72 times in this case a night.
Yeah. And like I said, when I seen them play both games, I saw the stats on both games. Yes, they went 1-1. They split the series, but the individual series, ZZ did what he wanted.
Every player as well. Every player has kryptonite. Every player.
Of course.
we gonna keep it real. Remember when Danny Granger used to give LeBron buckets?
Yeah.
Remember when certain players. Remember when Ron Artest first couple of years, Ron Artest used to be a bully on LeBron, but then LeBron got that grown man strength, and then it became, well, now it's world. You better call for some world peace. That's what it became then. So it's always players like that. What we have to understand is that similarities do make for great matchups. Styles make fights, as we always say. So when you looking in the mirror playing against a cat who plays kind of similar to you, it is a little different because they may think similar to you. So while you might have your wiggle, the only thing that makes it different is if one dude is left-handed and the other dude is right-handed.
And both right-handed.
And there you go. So there you go. So that's why it's that. But this is why players like Manu Ginobili were so hard to guard in the NBA for so long, because everybody comes up to him to guard him like he's a right-hand player, and then he break you down and go left.
Absolutely. And it's one of them things, and hence the reason why we have these discussions, because the draft is always going to be so all over the place, because the guys that everybody loves and is wanting to take lottery are like really similar sometimes to guys who are friends first round or even second round players. And you just kind of look and you just like, okay, the age the same. They do. What am I missing? And it just really just comes off of, situation, circumstance, hype. And certain people just have more hype than others, and that's just kind of what it is. All right, so wrapping up, we got one more minute. Final thoughts, Big Shot.
My final thought is this: the draft is Wednesday, November 18th. So if your squad, and it's okay to rep your team if they losing, it's cool. If you have a team in the lottery, in them first 14 picks, you can be part of the 94 Feet Draft Watch Party live on YouTube. Myself, Germ, J-Ham, Trav. I think we're going to try to get the homie Worldwide Les, maybe get the homie Greg to join us. We're going to have a live YouTube watch party. We want you to be part of that. When it's your team's pick or somewhere around the time your team is picking, You can jump on camera with us. We'll give you a minute, talk about what your team needs, who you want, your feelings about the pick. It's a great time. Now, you can't come on there talking crazy, because we do have control of the mic and the camera. But if you want to join us, hit us up. The draft Wednesday, November 18th. We're going to all be in there. I'm pretty sure we'll stay on for at least the whole lottery. Try to do most of the first round with you, but definitely hit us up if you want to be part of the 94 Feet live draft party. I'm going to put this in the Facebook group after we hang up. That's my big thing, man. So definitely join us. Draft night, November 18th. Jerm, what you got to leave the people with?
Last thing I'm gonna leave y'all with is the draft is necessary. You got 3 elements to building a team. You got free agency, you got your draft, and obviously besides those 2 things, you have your coaching staff. Coaching staff is everything because your coaching staff sets the tone. If you can't draft well, it don't matter what free agents that you pick because you still have to have good free agents and a balance of draft picks somewhere. That's the NFL and that's basketball for sure. So I'm going to need for y'all to understand that. You cannot continue to go in year after year with no draft assets. Golden State replenishes 2 or 3 players every year just from the draft. 2 or 3 players. That's not a lot, but it's enough to keep fresh blood at a good price, but also be able to complement the players that they already had. Having a system matters, ladies and gentlemen. Having draft capital matters. But most importantly, role players matter. Because role players is how you win championships.
And it goes all back full circle. Opportunity matters. So my final thoughts is I really hope, which never usually happens, but I could speak it in existence and speak life. I hope that this game continues to be able to put these young players and older players into their process so that they could become better people. I also hope that they are able to get into a situation where they get at least an opportunity to fail. And I hope that they have built enough relationships and find a good enough fit to where even if they have to conform a bit to be able to feed their family, they still are happy and in peace with their decision. So with that, you're live on the scene. We out of here.